Hey everyone, welcome back to Strong Inside and Out, the place where we talk about all things being strong on the inside and out. I am super excited to be back on YouTube with y'all. This is our second week back, and hopefully, you caught last week's show either on Apple or Spotify if you like the audio version, or right here if you like the video version. When I first started my journey into entrepreneurship, I was scared. And I have to say that I'm still a little bit fearful just because of the unknown. Not scared in a way that I'm going to give up, but maybe just a little bit apprehensive because I don't know exactly what I don't know yet. And one of the things that I had to really conquer was this fear of being on camera. Now, I do have to say that I think the pandemic made a huge difference for me because the first time I ever got on a Zoom was in my role as an elementary principal. And we didn't know what we were doing. And I had never even heard of this thing called Zoom. Now, I had done the thing called Skype. And my only experience with Skype was, and y'all are going to laugh when you hear this, was I did a Skype interview for my first time ever while in Des Moines, Iowa, with the current school district that I'm in right now. And they were having a thunderstorm here in Houston while it was taking place. And the internet was not, the signal was not very strong. So what I didn't realize is that they could hear me, but they couldn't see me. And here I am in my office, Des Moines, Iowa, pretty little office, doing all my things, my animation, my presentation, all the things, so I could get this principal position. And they couldn't even see what I was doing. Lo and behold, I got the position. And then I had to actually do assistant principal interviews on Skype from Des Moines still, because I was still there. And that was a challenge because, again, back then, and that was in 2015, the internet wasn't as strong as it is now, and our access points and all of the things. And then we had the pandemic. And we got on a Zoom meeting for the very first time. And this is what's going to make you laugh. I have to share this story. And I was sitting in my office, and where my office was at that house, you could look out into the living room. And the brown dog and I were home. And I'm on the meeting, and I can see into the living room. And we had a doggy door. And he went outside, and it was a nice day. And he comes in, and I can see him playing with one of his toys. And he's throwing this toy up and down in the air and catching it. And then he would nuzzle it with his nose, and then he'd pick it up again and he'd toss it in the air. I have a chocolate lab pit bull, and that lab in him likes to play catch and do all the things. And I'm thinking, wow, he is really going to town with this toy. And then I look over and I see the toy that I think he's playing with on the couch. And I'm thinking, what does he have? Well, very long story short, when I finally went out there and figured it out, he had a turtle. And y'all, it was probably as big as his own head. And he's part pit bull. So he's got a big head. And he was taking that poor turtle and tossing it in the air and catching it and nuzzling it and playing with it. I thought the turtle was going to die. Well, we get the turtle out of the house, and the poor little thing, he just kind of starts moseying on down the sidewalk. The most amazing thing is 2 weeks later, I believe it was the same turtle, was back in our backyard, I guess looking for more playtime with the brown dog. But anyway, those have been my experiences getting onto these Zoom cameras or these Skype cameras. So now going into my own business, and so much of it is online. And what I'm doing right now with you online, I really had to get to a point where I was okay seeing myself, because we're always our own worst critic, right? Not just seeing ourselves, but hearing ourselves, because I have to play back to make sure it's something I want to post for you. And knowing that in your mind, you think, oh, I've got some good information to share, but what if it doesn't come out quite like that? You know, I guess it's a risk that we take when we put ourselves out in the world. But I can say over the past year of getting into where I'm at currently with a girl and her dog coaching and consulting, this is getting a whole lot better. And I guess it's showing because even someone commented about one of my Facebook lives last week in a meeting. So they said, I make it look, quote, so comfortable and so easy. In my mind, I'm thinking, you just have no idea. But anyway, we're here not just to talk about my experiences on the camera, but we're also here to talk about this week's topic on Strong Inside and Out. And this week, I'm talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of ambition. So let's get started. Now, I sure hope that you've had an amazing week since you tuned in last time. If it wasn't amazing, I hope you at least found some ways to be able to celebrate even the smallest wins in your world. I know that's what keeps me motivated in my own business, and it keeps me on that journey of building and thriving in business. You know, we all need that little motivation sometimes, and it's really easy to get down on ourselves, right? Especially if you're a high achiever like I am. So this week, I've really been thinking a lot about ambition, and more specifically, ambitious women. So many times, society says it's okay for men to be go getters, high achieving, and it's almost expected that they are soaring to the top of whatever they put their mind to. But for women, I believe that there's still this global mindset that women should take care of families, fulfill their duties in the home, and take directives from those in charge. And many times, those in charge are men. Now, as you can imagine, I am a very high achieving woman, very ambitious. And I have encountered times when this is a good thing and a bad thing. And unfortunately, there have also been times when I've been regarded as a not so nice word because of it as well. In my experiences, there is definitely a good, a bad, and an ugly side of ambition. And this week, I want to share my thoughts with you on it. You see, I always knew that I would do these big things in life. I wanted to have an impact on the world, and I wasn't going to stop until I achieved it. I remember times when my own family, basically due to their lack of understanding of what I wanted to do, or maybe they thought I wasn't capable of doing these things in life, but they questioned it. I remember my grandma asking me, I'll never forget the day I was on my way back from an interview at Texas A&M planning to start my doctorate degree. And her words stay to me even to this day, and that was in 2010. I'll never forget them. She said, point blank, why in the world would you want to go get your doctorate? You don't really need it. And I couldn't believe it because this was the woman that basically supported me in so many things in life. But I remember other family members questioning why we were leaving our small town after I finished college with my first degree and ultimately leaving them to go pursue big things for my career. I also remember friends questioning it. And I think it was all just because they just didn't understand my ambitions in life. And I was hoping that eventually they would support me in all of my endeavors, which I can say that now at almost 52 years old, now that they've seen what I've been able to accomplish, now that they can understand my vision and the path I'm taking to get there, I think this has finally happened. But y'all, it's been a long road to get there, and it wasn't always good. I've done some good things with my career. I've accomplished a lot of things as a mom, as a teacher, as an elementary principal, but not everybody was always excited. I even experienced these same kind of questions from my own ex-husband. I do believe that at first he was 100% on board with my goals and dreams. And I really think he was actually excited to see what our future could be together if I had accomplished all of my goals and dreams. But I do think eventually, as we continue to grow and mature in our adult lives, we became two completely different people. And as I continued to soar, he just wanted to stay comfortable. And that is when the questioning, the judgment, and the resentment began. Even as a woman who became a leader in education at a fairly young age. Now, I wasn't super young, but I was 34 when I secured my first principalship. And clearly, that caused a lot of people to question, did I know enough? Was I ready? I'd only been in the classroom 4 years. Now, I had worked up to that. So I left the classroom after 4.5 years. Then I became an instructional specialist, and then I became a curriculum coordinator, and then an assistant principal, and then a principal. But 34 was still pretty young. And I definitely had people who embraced my ambition. And I had just as many who questioned my experience, my purpose, and ultimately questioned my ambition to continue to grow in my career. Now, don't get me wrong. I got my position because I had some amazing people, and these were mainly women, backing me and promoting me in all of my endeavors. But as with all things, there were just as many people out there who made it difficult to succeed and challenged so many things I said or did. I'm sure you've experienced that if you are a high achiever. As a high achiever, you can imagine that this also meant I was quite a perfectionist. And I do have to admit that. I worked until the job was done perfectly. I sacrificed time with my friends and family to get my best work out in the world. And I love my daughter, and she is the most important thing to me. But I even remember times when I put her second to my work activities. I always believed that I had to prove myself in the world, as so many women do, and I was going to do it perfectly, no matter what. Well, as I say, ambition is a funny thing with so many pieces to it. The good, well, of course, it's always good when you are a go getter. You can secure the best career path in life, generate income that can easily take care of all of your financial needs. I also believe that ambitious women are those who understand that they need people to help them rise to the top. And that makes us take care of those who help us get there. We build relationships. We want to grow our teams. And we understand the soft skills needed to make an impact on the world. For many, this ambition is just enough motivation to keep us doing amazing things in the world, which impacts so many in so many ways. But ambition can get ugly as well. When you are so ambitious that you begin to put others aside and narrow your focus so tight, you tend to forget to live life. You get so caught up in what is happening with you and your goals and your dreams that you let all of your other relationships and adventures in life go to the wayside. I can only speak to this because I too have had to realign my passion and purpose in life at a point when I threw myself into my career so that I could be the best. Not necessarily do the best, but be the best. And ultimately, I found myself miserable in the end. Do I think ambition played a part in my divorce? Absolutely. Do I think ambition played a part in me earning Principal of the Year twice? Once at the state level, I was the runner up, and once in my district? Absolutely. Do I think ambition helped me ensure that I was the best mom I could be and my daughter is as successful as she is right now? For sure. Do I think ambition caused me to have my midlife crisis and realize that maybe focusing on my career in public education is not my first priority anymore? And that I want to have a focus that allows me some freedom in life to take care of me? Well, we all know the answer to that. So I had to do some work with myself when it comes to being a high achiever, when it came to being that perfectionist, and definitely when it came to putting my ambitious goals and dreams in check. So I'm going to share with you my 3 strategies that I used that really helped me get myself in balance again and actually get me right here today talking with you, because had I not done this work, I would be still looking for the next thing in education, consuming my whole life because I would have wanted to do it perfectly. And we all know what happens when we think we have to be perfect. So the first thing I had to learn was to plan my life. Now, I need to tell you, I don't plan everything in my life. I don't live my life by a set of checklists, but I do have to plan my days so that I can ensure that I include some time to rest and relax. I include time for workouts, for self care, and I even schedule time to socialize with those around me while I still can stay on track with my own goals and dreams. Now, me, I'm a paper planner type of girl. So you can definitely see my daily to-do list, my monthly plans, and yearly goals outlined in my planner. It's sitting right here. I would show you, but I've got a ton of papers on top of it because I've been working hard over the weekend. But I do definitely live by the saying, if you don't plan your day, the day will plan you. And I can easily check off the things that I get done. And I do everything in pencil so that if I can't get to it that day, if I have to tell myself, girl, you need to stop and you need to breathe for a minute, I just erase it and move it to the next. I have also had to step back and ensure that when I set goals, I set reasonable goals. Now, I have big long-term goals right now, but I have to remember that they must be attainable and I have to have an action plan for them, or I will make myself a bit crazy stressing over whether I can achieve them. And that is what would put me on that ugly side of ambition. I have a very specific process for reflection and goal setting at the end of each year, which includes times each month to review my yearly plans and make adjustments as needed. Again, I do believe that this definitely keeps me on track to accomplish big things while keeping myself in check with all of the other priorities in my life. And finally, my last big strategy is that I definitely have learned how to give myself grace and understand that progress is so much better than striving for perfection. Changing my mindset has truly helped me to let up on myself a little bit and not beat myself up when I don't accomplish something the way I originally set out to do it. It gives me permission to seek out help and support along the way if I need it. And it also helps me to remember not to let myself get into that comparison trap. I was good about that. I was the first person to compare myself to other women out in the world based on their progress in life or on social media or just what society expected of us. Because again, I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to be the go to girl, the it girl. That's a hard job, y'all. And it's very tiring. And when it comes down to it, nobody cares if you're the girl. What they care about is how you make people feel, how you build other people up, and how you show up in the world as your authentic self. And what the most important people care about is the time that you spend with them. And I had to learn that the hard way. Now, again, don't get me wrong. Being ambitious is not a bad thing. I was having a conversation just today with one of my teachers as we're wrapping up the year and doing evaluations. And I asked her, because I'm leaving, and I said, okay, remember, you can always reach out to me. I said, what are your goals? And she was sharing with me that, her husband had just gotten an assistant principal job and she wasn't really sure because they have a young child if she was ready to take that next step right now in their family life. And I told her, I said, I just talked about ambition on my podcast. And she said, it's funny you say that because I have a lot of ambition. I said, I know you do. And she said, and how do I keep it controlled and still give my daughter my time? And I did have to share with her, as I mentioned earlier, my daughter will say things like, Mom, you were there for the big things, but you weren't there for all of the things. Now, would I go back and change any of that? I don't know. I have to be honest. I don't know. Because what my ambition did do for us is it enabled us to live a life that she was able to do all of the things she wanted to do, which I didn't always get to do when I was growing up. Now, yes, I got to play some sports, but I had to choose amongst a few because we couldn't afford all of them. And I had to work and pay for my workout clothes and my tennis shoes and, all of the things. I didn't want that for my daughter. I wanted her to feel like she could pursue anything that lit her up so she could determine what path she wanted to be on. And she chose some pretty expensive things, choir and theater. We traveled. We had to pay for costumes. We had to have private lessons. I wouldn't go back and change it because I was able to do that. I wouldn't go back to change it because we were able to build a home in a nice neighborhood by good schools. And she was able to graduate thriving. I wouldn't go back and change it because I was able to pay for her first couple of years of college without having to take out loans and do all of those things. Do I have any regrets about my own ambition? Like I mentioned, could it have caused or been part of the cause of some of the big setbacks in my life? Sure could have. But what I do also remind myself is that we live life the best way we know how until we know better. And once I learned how to keep everything in check, using those 3 strategies, my life just continued to get better with more opportunities, with more recognition. Not that I'm out there to get recognition, but it's always nice to be told you're doing a good job. Now, I have to tell you, as we close out this conversation today, I'm not going to stop being an ambitious woman. I'm not going to stop being a high achiever. I have big goals. I plan to be the first millionaire in my family. Y'all, I'll be 52 at the end of this month. Is it possible? We're going to find out. We're going to find out because that's the dream. That's the goal. And I know I have what it takes to get there. But what I will do in this second half of my life, now that I know better, I will keep myself in check to also make my social life a priority, my family life a priority, my doggy mom life a priority. I'll travel. I'll do self-care. I'll take a minute for me. Because although there might not be work-life balance, I do believe that having a balanced life is what keeps us going beyond 50, beyond 60, and even maybe beyond the ultimate number you can think of. So that's this week's message for you. Now, before we go, I did want to talk to you just a minute about my newest program that I am putting out there, and I'm hoping that it's about to take off like wildfire. Wildfire. My God, I can't even speak today. I have been working on a program. It's called Confident, Courageous, and Clear, Learning to Live Life on Your Own Terms. And as I've been working on this and working through my business, I really have been trying to narrow my focus so that I can really help my clients the best way I can. If I'm helping everybody, I maybe am not helping anyone, if that makes any kind of sense. Now, of course, you can always tune in here on YouTube or listen to the podcast on Apple or Spotify. You can always check out all of my content for free on Instagram and Facebook. But this program in particular focuses on middle-aged women, women who are like me, who feel stuck in life for a variety of reasons. Maybe you've been focused on your career too much. Maybe you're an empty nester and you really feel empty and lonely. Maybe you put everybody else's needs in your family first, and now you don't even know who you are. My friend was telling me she felt like that. Maybe you never even knew what kind of life you wanted to begin with. And now you're at this age where you're thinking, wow, half of my life is over. When do I get to decide for me? Now, as I've been doing the research and thinking this through, I developed this so that people like me, women like me, can live a life that they love, that focuses on their own happiness, their own purpose, and their own dreams. It's a 4-month program. And y'all, I really have to tell you, using all of my greatest teaching strategies and my knowledge of working with adults, because I don't just work with students anymore. I teach teachers, I coach teachers, and now I coach women. I've been that go-to for people for a long time. And so I take all of that learning that I've done and I've put it together in this program so that you can have a combination of self-paced courses, one-on-one coaching with me, some accountability within the program, but it focuses on really helping you get past your limiting beliefs, because you're probably sitting there thinking, I've heard it all. I've probably said it all. I'm too old to make change at this age. What if it doesn't work? What if people in my world don't support me? What if I'm embarrassed because I need to have help at this age? Or what if I'm worried about the judgment of others? Here's what I say. I say you get one life. You can't go back and change anything that you've already done up to this point, but you can adjust what you're going to do forward so that that one life lights you up, aligns with all of your goals and passions, and sets you on fire to do big things. Now, the program has been recently discounted. I do want to tell you that, because the next question you're probably asking is, okay, this sounds really great, but what's it going to cost me? It's been discounted. It's not going to stay like this forever, but right now it's at $1,500 for the 4 months. Of course, I have payment plans. You don't have to worry about that. But the first thing that I'm going to hear from you is, whoa, that's a lot of money. Maybe I should be spending my money differently. I should be taking care of bills, responsibilities, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I'm really funny about money too, and it's always been a concern for me. But what if I could tell you that when you finish this program, 4 months focused on really digging deep into your own you and determining what you want, setting goals and action plans, taking care of your own health and wellness. And that's just not about your physical health or your nutrition. It's about your spiritual and your emotional health, your social health. And then wrapping it all up with making sure you set those boundaries so that you can sustain the changes you made. And you can do that in 4 months, because trust me, it took me a whole lot longer to figure this out. So what if in 4 months I could tell you that when you finished, you felt confident enough to go get that promotion or go apply for that job you've been thinking about? What if I told you that because you feel better about yourself, you're not feeling anxious, you're not feeling depressed about life, it cuts down on your medical bills. You eliminate medication, therapy. What if I tell you that when you finish, you would just be able to feel like you've achieved all of your goals and dreams, or that you can in the future and have a huge impact on the world? This program is that good. Now, you, of course, I'm going to say that because I built it. But I promise you, it's going to get you where you need to be. And as I mentioned, I know this because I did the hard work. I went through it myself and used these strategies, and now I am capable of teaching them to you. And you can do it much faster because time is money, and I wasted a lot of time and ultimately a lot of money to get to where I am today. But because it does involve money, I would never want to enter into something unless we felt 100% sure that we were a good match. I know I can teach you, but I want you to know you can learn from me. I want you to know that we align with each other, because we can't do our best work if we can't do our best work. So I really would love for you to get on my calendar. I'm going to put the link for that in these show notes so that you can check it out. Get with me. We'll talk. It's free. You can tell me what you're working on. I can give you a few tips and strategies so that we can determine if we are a good fit and we want to move forward together. So if this sounds like something you would love, get on my calendar. And if it's not something that fits for you and you know somebody that it might be good for, please share this and this episode with anybody out there, because I do this for free. The only way I can keep this going is to be reaching as many people as I possibly can. And I truly am on a mission to help as many women as I can in my life. And I'm not going to stop until I accomplish that, because I'm ambitious and high achieving. So thank you again for tuning in to Strong Inside and Out YouTube version. And I will talk with you soon. But seriously, take a chance. Get on my calendar. Let's talk and let's see if we are a good match. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.